Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be covering 10 more tips and tricks for Red Dead Online. If you're a veteran player, you probably already know these, but if you're a new player, this may be some stuff you've never heard before. So let's get into it. Number one, there are two different types of ginseng in the game, American ginseng and Alaskan ginseng. You can tell the difference between the two of them based off what they look like. Alaskan ginseng is very tall and American ginseng is much shorter to the ground. Now, frequently a daily that you'll have is pick either 5 American ginseng or 5 Alaskan ginseng. Now, you can always use the Gene Roke map, not the collectible one, but the one that shows like things like plant and animal spawns to go to each individual spot, because usually ginseng just shows up one at a time, so you can go and pick one and then you have to go to the next spot. However, when you have pick 5 Alaskan ginseng, there's a little trick that you may have heard people refer to as the ginseng farm. So you're going to follow the location on the map. When you get up there, you have to pick a certain ginseng in order to get all 5. If you pick a different one, you might only get 4 out of 5, and then it doesn't matter how many you pick from that little ginseng farm, you won't actually get 5 out of 5, and you have to go find a different location. So if you look at the video and you see the way I'm standing, it's usually the second one from the left in that row closest to me. So you pick that, you get 5 out of 5, and it's an easy way to get that daily done. Number 2, have you ever loaded into a race or a story mission and you're like, wait, what? This isn't the horse I was just using. Why did it give me this one? That's because Rockstar gives you the opportunity to select which horse you want to automatically load in with for different events. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit left on the D-pad, you're going to go to Stables, Horses, and then the second one down says Specialty. And what this is you can go in and for race, you can select what horse of your 10 that you want to have when you automatically load into a race, a story mission, or competitive. Now, I think free roam is just whatever horse you're riding around with in free roam, and so that's going to change every time that you select a different horse. So I don't really worry about that one too much, but I do make sure that whatever horse I'd like to use for each of those events, that I select a specific one from my list. Also to note, this is where you can change who has access to getting on your horse, taking cargo off your horse, or leading. So just keep in mind, if you don't want randoms to come up and be able to mess with your horse, just set it to friends, crew, posse, or no one. Number 3, use missions in the game to help you complete the dailies if you're having trouble getting certain things to spawn. For example, in the clip I have playing, this is the Stagecoach Stick-Up mission that you can get from James Langton outside of McFarland's. I don't know if it works anywhere else, so specifically at that location. When you go to search the first clue, a bunch of badgers are going to come in after you. So if killing badgers is a daily, that's an easy way to get it. When you search the next clue, coyotes are going to come in. So again, if skinning coyotes is a daily. And when you search the third clue, cougars are going to come in. So again, if cougars is a daily. There's other things you can do, like if you have to ride in a boat with a posse member, try doing Cornwall Contract number 3. That's a blood money mission, and there's boats there, and you guys can get on a boat together. If riding in a canoe with a posse member is a daily, try the Moonshine Story mission number 2. Also, panthers spawn in that mission, so that's another way to get the Panther daily. So as you're doing stranger events, story missions, moonshine missions, try to take note of what spawns in there, because it can actually really be a huge help if you're trying to get dailies done. And again, sometimes when there's a really big lobby, you're going to have trouble getting things to spawn in. So you can do something fun in the game and get a daily done at the same time. Number 4, if you've been playing for any length of time, you know probably one of the most aggravating things is the wagon spawns in this game. Whether you're doing a 6-person bounty and you need that bounty wagon to come right to you, or you just downed a bunch of animals that you want to throw on your hunting wagon, inevitably that wagon is not going to show up anywhere near you, and I hate it. Honestly, it hurts my soul a little bit. Now, if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're nowhere near a road, this tip still isn't going to help you. But if you do happen to be pretty close to a road, just run to that road, face the opposite direction from where you want the wagon to spawn, and go ahead and call your wagon out, whether that's the bounty wagon or the hunting wagon. And if you're facing the opposite direction, you're going to see it come up behind you. So in this clip, I do it with both the hunting wagon, and on a different road, I do it with the bounty wagon, and they do show up right behind me each time.
Help! Help me!
Number 5, did you know that you could turn in a bounty to any sheriff's office on the map? So typically when you pick up a bounty, it's going to give you a location to either a sheriff's office or to a bounty hunter wagon. And usually that's the closest to your current location. However, there might be a reason why you don't want to deliver in that direction, such as depending on the terrain, maybe it's more difficult to get there, especially if you have a multi-person bounty and you are using a bounty wagon. Or maybe you just need to go in a different direction and that's where you want to end up. Or maybe there's a person who's been griefing that's in that area you're going and you just want to go in the opposite direction. So if you start traveling toward a different sheriff's office, when you get a little bit closer to there, it is going to reroute you and you will be able to turn that bounty in. I've done it many times. There's only one exception that I've ever seen to this, and that is there is a particular bounty that you get that takes you right in close to Rhodes, where the bounties are right there in the town of Rhodes. And when you get that bounty, it does not allow you to turn it into Rhodes. I don't know if it has something, if it's a bug, or if it just has something to do with the fact of who the sheriff is in Rhodes, but you do have to take that one to Saint Denis or a different location. So just a quick tip, if you don't want to go to where they're telling you to go, it will reroute you as you start riding in a different direction. Number 6. If you auto-aim your weapon while driving a wagon, your wagon will follow the yellow line if you're in a mission, or the red line if you've placed your own waypoint, provided you don't take your left thumb and let it touch the left analog stick, because that'll actually move the wagon. That's like you're driving the wagon yourself. And so that overrides the auto ride. This can be helpful for a couple different reasons. One, if you crash your wagon a lot and you want your wagon to stay on the road and you don't want that to happen, then auto aiming can be really beneficial. If you took a drink of moonshine before doing your moonshine delivery and you find that your moonshine wagon is going all over the place, then you can auto aim your weapon and it will make sure that the wagon stays straight on the road. If you're doing a delivery or you're doing some kind of a mission where there's enemies coming up behind you and you need to be able to shoot, you can turn completely around and shoot the enemies and your wagon is going to continue to follow that line. Again, provided your left thumb doesn't touch the left analog stick. So I use this all the time, whether I'm shooting enemies while I'm driving a wagon or I just want to brake and I don't want to have to worry about driving the wagon off a cliff. I auto aim extensively. It works great, so definitely give it a try. Number 7. This one's pretty easy, but you can actually lasso animals that you've just sedated. This can be super helpful if you're getting wetland animal samples and you're sedating gators, because as you probably have had happen before, you'll go to sedate the gator, it'll go into the water, and then you have to lasso it to pull out of the water. So just right after you finish sedating the animal, throw your lasso around its neck, it'll hold it in place until it goes to sleep. Number 8, there is such a thing as weapon familiarity in the game. This means that when you have killed enough people, NPCs, and animals in the game, you'll become fully familiar with that particular gun, and that means you will have max stats for that particular type of ammo that you're using. Now, the way that you can see if you are fully familiar with the gun is you want to look at the reload section when you're looking at the stats of your gun. So I'm going to compare the Lamat revolver, which I just purchased on my secondary character, and the Navy revolver, which I've actually had for a while. Both guns have to be completely clean for this to work. And so what happens basically is when your gun is completely clean, if there is any gray in the reload area, then that means you're not fully familiar with the gun, which means you're not at max stats for that particular ammo. And so you can see on the Lamat is clean. I'm using express ammo, and you can see that there is still some gray in the reload section. And when I switch over to the Navy, you can see that there is no gray at all. And that just shows you if you're fully familiar or not. Again, all that really means is when you're using a particular type of ammo, if you're not fully familiar with the gun, your stats could be a little bit better. And then once you're fully familiar, you will have maxed out stats for that weapon. Number 9, if you're going after predators, particularly legendary predators like cougars and bears and panthers, and you find yourself dying a lot or you're on your horse and you keep getting bucked off, try giving the ability card Slow and Steady a chance. Basically what this card does is it slows you or your horse down. So if you're on foot, you can't run when you're using this ability card. And if you're on your horse, you can walk slowly, but it basically stops the bucking animation. So your horse will not buck you off. It might rear up, but it won't buck you off. Now, something to keep in mind is depending on what predator you're going after, cougars and panthers, for example, will get right up near your horse. So even though the horse isn't going to buck you off, it can be really hard to sedate or kill the animal because it's so close to you. So it's just something you have to keep in mind and maybe play around with it a little bit, because if you do run out of Deadeye, pretty much as soon as you go out of Deadeye, your horse is going to buck at that point. So just keep that in mind. If you're trying to kill legendary predators, some other cards maybe to look into would be some damage cards to make it a much quicker to kill the animal, and use a shotgun as well. But things like winning streak, peak condition would be some good cards to look at. And finally, that brings us to number 10, which is the ability to switch shoulders when you're aiming your weapon. So when you're aiming your weapon, if you hit left on the D-pad, it'll switch shoulders. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to get the kill shot without getting killed a little more easily, depending on what direction the enemy is coming from and what objects you're using as cover. As soon as you let go of aiming the weapon, it will default back to normal, so you will have to hit left on the D-pad again. This can be useful in both PvE and PvP. In PvP, if you are going up against other players, you can use things to hide behind, switch shoulders, and that way none of your body is sticking out, and you're going to be able to get the kill on them faster while your body is mostly in cover so that you don't get killed. And in PvE, especially in things like CTAs, you can use it to peek around the corner when you're going after things like the cannons and war wagons. What I'll do at Fort Mercer, for example, is I'll use the side of the wall. I'll switch shoulders, so I'll hit left on the D-pad. I'll paint the cannon, the guy on the cannon, and then I'll just move out slightly so that my shot clears the wall. But this is going to allow me to get the shot in, hopefully before they're able to get off a kill shot on me. So it's extremely useful. Definitely give it a try. If you're a big PvP person, you probably already know about it because it's super useful. But like I said, against things like cannon guys, war wagons, snipers, it can be a really useful tool to use. There you have it, 10 more tips and tricks for Red Dead Online. If you have any tips you think we could benefit from, please feel free to leave a comment below. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you'd give it a like. And if you'd like to know when I go live or when I upload a new video, don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.